I should have known this was a terrible idea. Who finds and takes a job offer while casually browsing Reddit? Yes, I realize that I'm posting this story on Reddit right now, but this is the only place I know I can reach people. I love the front page of the internet, but it's no early 2000s era monster.com. It's not a site to find a job, unless it's a job literally working for Reddit. I don't know, look, I'm out of my mind right now. I messed up. I couldn't keep it all straight. I just couldn't do it. I don't know how much time I have, but I have a nifty little setting that will post whatever I have written on the subreddit if I'm AFK for more than 2 minutes. I don't know if I'll live long enough to hit the post button, so I'll type as much as I can. Sorry for any typos or information that doesn't make sense. My name doesn't matter, but you can call me B. I'm going to try and give just the facts, ma'am. Again, forgive me if my words come out looking like the Conspiracy Charlie meme from Always Sunny. I love all things media, radio specifically. Talk radio more specifically. I remember as an early teen hearing Howard Stern and having my socks blown off by how wild his show was. As I grew into an older teen around 18 or 19, I still appreciated the cheeky topics that he and his crew discussed. But I started to understand the incredible talent he had for communication and honesty. I think his movie displayed how he decided to be truthful to his audience all the time, even if it hurt. He also didn't write the movie, so well, I take it for what it is, but I believe him. I say all that to say that I wanted to work in some kind of radio format. Sirius was just in its infancy, soon to be catapulted into the mainstream by Howard, and the podcast era was also picking up steam. I didn't want to be on the air. I wanted to produce or write, do segments, research, things of that nature. I also love scary stories, which had a great home on certain programs online and radio. And this will come into play soon. I got a half-ride scholarship to Central Michigan University to their communications program. Exactly what I was looking for. I don't know how many programs I applied to or how many my parents helped me apply for, but this was the one that took me. Never heard of the school, much less the state. Fire up chips, I guess. Don't mistake my lack of excitement for not appreciating what I received. I had a blast every day for 4 years. I was lucky enough to pair up with some great dudes, not the party types, just like me. I mean, we drank and had fun, sure, but not in the dude bro way that so many campuses are full of. All 3 of us are still friends to this day. I hope no one has to tell them to come to my funeral. After earning my bachelor's degree in communications, I had the same question as nearly every college grad does. Now what? I really didn't know what my degree was worth, and I didn't know what to do. So I toiled away, working on my craft. When I lacked an experience, I made up for with raw determination. I wanted to be the best at what I did, whatever that may be. I had a part-time gig producing some college radio shows while I was finishing my degree. Everyone in the field knows how unremarkable these late-night shifts can be. I loved it though. It gave me a chance to feel like I was the Baba Booey to whatever Kmart version of Howard Stern was spinning records on any given night. I eventually moved on to some TV spots, production assistant jobs, and even working on a locally Emmy-nominated nature show on PBS. It was a blast. After not winning, I fell into a slog. Throughout my early career in media, I never forgot my love of scary stories. I always loved programs on urban legends and movies about monsters, and reading supposedly true ghost encounters. At this time, about 2012 or so, I found the term creepypasta, which was becoming all the rage on Reddit and beyond. That's what I wanted to do. Write, produce, and/or narrate these incredible stories about tall, scary killers and pre-teen psychopaths. I did a bit of work creating and producing YouTube videos for some early adapters of this medium. This failed to actually pay the bills though, and I was forced to really work for a living. I held on some menial delivery jobs, boring security shifts, and gulp, telemarketing scams. This is where the rando browsing of Reddit one night changed my life. I don't know how I found myself on this subreddit, I was just there. I go through a lot of scary story creepypasta subreddits. I'm sure that it was just on my recommendation feed. The title hit me between the eyes like a sledgehammer. Want to earn money narrating creepypastas? Well, of course I do. There was no text in the preview, so I clicked on the title. The subreddit was called Enigma Reads. From memory, I'll attempt to give you all the gist of what the post said. The original post is gone now for reasons that may become obvious later. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to Enigma Reads. I'll tell you this now that upon further investigation, this subreddit did not have any other posts or interactions. I didn't know this at the time. We are looking for exciting narrators to read spooky stories. They will range from all corners of the dark, creepypastas, urban myth, true and uncanny. Is this something that interests you, Scary Gary? Well then, let's get started. There are just a few rules you must follow. These rules are not negotiable. I knew this was coming, the dreaded rules creepypasta channels. I'll give it a go. First rule, you must start recording at 11:59 p.m., whichever respective time zone you reside in. Second rule, stories will be emailed to you. All stories will have a read receipt attached. You must acknowledge that you've read the entire entry. Pay no attention to the address that they are sent from. It will not be from the same email every time. Rule 3. Submit the recording to enigma123456789 at enigmareads.net with the story title in the subject line. Okay, that's a little strange. Most corporate emails are not that convoluted, and for sure don't have a .net address, and with 2 N's in it too. I hate to say that I recognized a small red flag raising, but dang it, I was intrigued. Fourth rule. Be sure to have 12 red roses near you while narrating. They don't have to be fresh cut per se, but should be purchased the day of recording. What? Fifth rule. If you hear a single or triple knock at the door at any time during your narration, stop recording immediately. Politely say thank you and walk around your home for 2 to 5 minutes. It should be safe to resume narration soon after. Just make sure the roses are still alive. Side note, do not answer the door if or when you hear the 3 knocks. Also follow these same instructions if you hear a cat meow. Number 6. Compensation will be mailed to a P.O. box 1 week after the story has been submitted to Enigma Reads. If you're accepted, we will send it to a P.O. near the area that you live in. Rule 7. If you find a yellow rose, what the heck is it with the roses, in the P.O. box with your payment, expect another story submission to be emailed by the end of the business day. If you find a black rose, you must relocate and never narrate again. Okay, I'm done. I shut my laptop screen down and shoved off my chair. I was more embarrassed than anything that I lasted that long into what was clearly a troll post. How stupid. I was so blind to wanting a narration job that I ignored all the insane rules until the silliness factor hit 100%. I sat back and actually had a nice laugh to myself. Oh, B, I said, you got. That's all, man. Let's put on some mindless Minecraft Let's Plays to soothe your ego. And then I read rule number 8. Rule number 8. Do not ignore this. We all live by the rules. You were meant for this. Follow the rules, B. Have fun. Why did it say follow the rules, B? My first name starts with the letter B. There's no way that could be meant for me specifically. It could be a mistake or it could be meant for me. I sent my application and pertinent information to the email address. 4 weeks later, the clock face stares at me as I stare at it. 11:58, 11:59, record. Only 15 minutes later and I've finished the narration of my first story. I'll have to go back and do some light editing, but right now I'm satisfied. It was a safe story about the main character traversing a weird haunted house. The house starts speaking to him, he gets sucked in, makes mistakes, and gets swallowed by the resident spirits. Not a story that would win any Peabodys, but still a well-written one. It was the first one sent to me after I had submitted my application. After 4 weeks, I had almost forgotten about the whole ordeal. I was happy to be accepted to read a story. After making some minor tweaks, I submitted to the strange email address. Guess there's nothing left to do but to go on with my life. I wasn't afraid about following the rules. I followed them all as far as I could tell. Dear participant, thank you. Check P.O. Box redacted for your payment. Nice. Once I grab the check, I will officially be a professional creepypasta narrator. If you get paid for something that makes you a professional, small victory, hopefully the first of many. I took an unfamiliar walk to my local post office. Unless you're in the business of mailing out multiple packages weekly, or have an actual P.O. box, the average person doesn't visit the old American institution very often. I knew where it was, of course, and just by living here for a spell, but I don't think I've set a solitary sandal there. My mail gets delivered to my home like most people. I felt a little nostalgia wash over me, like stepping outside in the early morning hours onto a white sanded Florida beach. My mom used to bring me to the post office when I was a kid. Not sure why we needed a P.O. box. We did have a regular mailbox outside our home. As kids, you don't ask silly questions like that. I haven't felt the little satisfaction of having your own key that opens your own little package portal since then. Number 222. That's the box that had been assigned to me. I'm not into numerology or anything, but I do appreciate aesthetically pleasing patterns like this. 3 of these same number repeated, lovely. As soon as my government-issued bronze key makes contact with the lock, I feel a rising panic. The rules. Crap. I forgot that I'm supposed to be looking for something beside the payment. I looked at my phone hoping to have saved that post. Oh man, why didn't I save it? After I got my heart back down to maybe 160 from 190 BPM, I decided that I'd either open it or just leave it. Here we go. An envelope. No rose, no flower. I don't think the rules said anything about not seeing any rose. I'm not sure. I wish I was sure. I shakily opened the envelope. It wasn't sealed, just tucked in like you would do if you give a birthday card to a friend. A small eggshell-colored index card was inside. I saw green also, but I wanted to read what the card had to say. Enclosed is payment to redacted in the amount of $500 for story number 1, based on the agreed-upon rate of 10 cents for every word upon acceptance. Great working with you and hope we do it again soon. Ta-ta. I craned my head toward the stained ceiling from the disco era that let out a generous belly laugh from my generous belly. This has been a goof. It's real, I mean, but it was just a cheeky game, like all internet stuff is now. There are no roses or knocks or witches or black cats. You know what, I appreciate the theater. Oh man, my journal will love this post. And I get a cool $500 for the story. Come to think of it though, I don't remember the agreed upon rate. This seems way above standard, but well, I'll take it. Hopefully I can do it again. Sliding into my home on a high as a professional writer, I threw my keys on the table, opened my fridge, and poured myself a 2-finger black velvet whiskey. Nothing but the best, a second shelf liqueur to celebrate my entry into the world of creepypasta. As fast as I drowned the brown liquid, I dropped the thankfully plastic cup onto the ground, spilling ice everywhere. A solitary yellow rose was on my dining room table. A note accompanied the rose, rubber banded around the stem, written in crayon. Disturbing. We should have mentioned that the rules are somewhat fluid. The rose can be anywhere, not just in the P.O. box. Sometimes our benefactors want them inside of the home. Don't fret. Nothing was touched and we locked up afterwards. Great story. Check your email for the next one. My head was spinning, not helped by the generous helping of Canadian whiskey that I just downed. I have to sit down. What just happened? Someone was in my house. I need another drink. After 1 or 7 more drinks, I stayed focused on the most beautiful fullest rose that I had ever seen, yellow or otherwise. A message. I picked up my phone from its face-down position beside me on the couch. An email. From storyfan@creepy.com. Subject, new story. I read the synopsis of the new story with glazed eyes. A generic ripoff of a Slenderman-style story. Kids go missing in a summer camp. Creepy tall guy sighted, blah blah blah. I hunched forward, head in hands. How can I get over the fact that someone or something was in my home? I didn't feel like I was in danger, but I didn't like what was happening either. I did get a very real $500 though. I'm on my way to buy a dozen red roses. I am again eyeing the blazing red numbers of my digital clock. 11:59. Trance-like, I start to pound away on the keyboard. Before I know it, it's almost to 5 a.m. It's a masterpiece. As far as throwaway rip-off creepypasta stories go, I'm not ashamed. Submit. I'm proud to say that a couple of months later, I'm starting to make a comfortable living pumping out stories to all corners of the web. I see them on YouTube, Spotify, and even have a series adapted for television. I couldn't be happier. Finally, being recognized for my talent is a feeling that I can't put into words. Despite being a professional writer now, no black roses and no more creepy rules popping up. I'm in a sublime state. I check my email to see another story. This one is right in my wheelhouse. A writer is working late, hears strange noises, the writer descends into madness. I get right to work, I didn't even look at the clock. This one kind of got away from me in a good way. I don't go beyond 5,000 to 6,000 words often. In fact, it's an absolute rarity. After I snapped out of my writing trance, I realized that I should start to edit this beast down. 3 knocks on my door, and I almost jumped out of my skin. Thankfully, my writing fuel, whiskey, was now present in my highball, otherwise that would have been either all over me or all over my computer. My poor heart starts to race. This is one of the rules, but I can't remember what I'm supposed to do. Dang it, what do I do? I hastily run to the kitchen where I scratched out the rules on my dry erase board. In my inebriated state, I could barely make out rule number 5. If a single or triple knock occurs at any time, stop writing immediately. Say thank you and remain calm. Crap, thank goodness I was in some kind of sober mindset to write that out. Thank you, I said sheepishly into the ether. No response, of course. I looked left and I looked right and nothing. No specters, no demons. Good thing I've been following the rules. Silly to think these are actually the real, but what's been working has been working, so I'm not going to chance it now. I plan on making my retirement on this gig. I woke up in pain. Not unfamiliar pain, more self-induced. I'll recover, I always do. Thankfully, it's an amazing 90 degrees out. Perfect for recovering from the night before, at least for me. I'll commence my hangover ritual. Take a walk, sweat it out, get some caffeine and destroy something greasy, preferably a Carl's Jr. burger. And that's what I did. And wouldn't you know, I was feeling back to normal by the time that I made it to the post office. P.O. Box 222. This one will be a nice payday, and that last story that I submitted was well over 10,000 words. As I opened the box that I saw, black. No light and certainly no envelope containing cash or a check. I had to shake my head and try to come back to reality. I'm feeling okay but still hungover. I must not be seeing this right, and I wasn't. I saw black because there was the largest black rose facing me that anyone had ever seen. I don't even know if this was truly a rose. The petals were at least double the size of a normal rose. For some dumb reason I leaned in and I smelled it. It smelled great and it was real. The well-known phrase entered my mind, stop and smell the roses. And at that moment I understood. I didn't understand, but I understood. Enjoy what you have, be a good person. Man, I wish I was a better person. Wasting my life, writing silly stories and not enjoying loved ones, not enjoying everything, not enjoying anything. There was a tiny note underneath the black rose. As I grabbed the rose, I felt a slight sting in my left hand. Warmth that fills me, a liquid pain. Beneath the bloodstains, I could unfortunately read what the note said. Follow the rules. My skin turned ice cold. My brain shifted into 7th gear. I followed every rule. I put forth an honest effort. I wasn't trying to deceive anyone or anything. I was starting to get hyper. Tears were effortlessly falling from my eyes. At this point, I knew the final chapter was being written in front of me. I still don't understand. I said thank you, I stopped. What else do you maniacs want? My visceral caveman pleas were met by no reply. I was embarrassed to have lost my composure like that. I painfully straightened up, squared my shoulders, and lifted my chin up. I'm going to walk home. I'm going to walk home and accept whatever is waiting for me like a man. I wasn't even fazed when I saw my door was ajar. I threw my keys on the table. I took one step towards the drawer above the sink where I keep my liquor, but I stopped. For once, I won't have to imbibe to hide my pain. I'm ready to take it. I instead filled a dirty cup in the sink with fresh, cool water. After a generous drink, I spoke to whatever was behind me. Why? Sometimes good things happen to bad people. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. Some rules are made to be broken. Most are made to follow. You will be remembered though. Not many can say that.